Okay, good morning to you second time. So now everything should be working and let's start with recap or roundup about Maya basics modeling tools. Uh, so as I said earlier, if you come here, up right corner, you can reset the Maya workspace from the drop down menu. And currently my workspace is resetted to be default, but if yours is not, you can reset it from here. And the modeling toolkit, where we have all the modeling or most used modeling tools, can be found up here under the workspace tab. Uh, the icon for modeling toolkit is the square and the hammer, and the modeling toolkit appears here. Uh, Next thing what we are going to do, we are creating geometry. So I come over our scene view and then I press spacebar down, and I'm holding it down so I can access to the create menu. And from the create menu, I'm going to go polygon primitives. Always when we are modeling, we want to use polygon primitives. And then the next thing what I'm doing, I'm selecting the cube with the little window or the options window. So I'm selecting this small square. And now I have this polycube options here, what I can modify. And I'm just typing here to the width and height and depth 4, 4, 4. And I can actually change the resolution of my cube here. So if I type here, for example, 5, 5, 5, and then I press apply, I get cube divided by 5 edge loops. Okay, I click my cube, then I click W, and I'm going to move cube away from the origin of our grid. Just to demonstrate, if I change these division options here to be 10, 10, 10, and then I press apply, I get even more dense cube. So there is more polygons, which means the mesh is heavier. Uh, but as I said earlier during these lessons, uh, less is more when you are modeling. So you should start with so low res that it's manageable for you. So don't start with this 10 10 10 because you will get in trouble very fast, because the decreasing the poly amount of polys is more difficult than increasing it. So basically what I recommend for you for the start, you start with 1 1 1, what was the default of divisions. And then when I press create, this polycube options window will close automatically. Okay. And now I see my cube and I want to add manually these divisions to my cube. And it happened from here in the modeling toolkit with tool multicut. I select the multicut tool by pressing mouse's left, and then I can see that my multicut tool is highlighted. And also my cube has changed color to light blue, or my cube edges has changed the color light blue, which means that I'm on the edit mode, not anymore in the object mode, and I can tweak my components. By default, the multicut tool offers me option to do cuts like this, but I don't want to do cuts here. I want to do whole edge loops, so then I have to press Ctrl down, and then the multicut tool will offer me option to create edge loops. And then I will create 2 edge loops here and 2 edge loops here. Now I have divided my cube to 3 sections, and I don't want to use my multicut tool anymore, so that's why I have to press Q with what I activate my selection tool and quit using the multicut tool. After that, because I want to modify my cube, I select face here in the middle of my cube. And then I'm going to use the extrude tool, which can be found here on the component editor. And when I press extrude, I have options to pull out faces and for deform my cube with this manner. The extrusion is also adding something to the geometry and making it even more dense. So extrusion is one of the basic tools of modeling. We can also achieve this kind of form with other manner. So I can basically also combine this from 2 different meshes. So if I'm pressing, I forget my first cube, and then I press spacebar down and go to the creation menu and go to the polygon primitives and then cube. I create 1 cube, and after that I'm going to press my spacebar down again, and then I go to the polygon primitives, cube with the little window, and then I'm going to modify this next cube to be 1, 1, 1 from the measurements, and then I'm going to create it. And because the cube is smaller than the cube what we created before, it's inside of our cube, so I'm going to bring it up like this. So basically these 2 cubes look the same now, but they are still not together. So the next thing what I have to do is I open the outliner. Here, icon was here, and now I can see all the objects what I have in my scene. And then with shift pressed down, I will select these 2 objects, and I had this tool here on my modeling toolkit called combine. If I press combine, you can see that now these 2 cubes are merged together, which is basically the same as the cube what we did earlier. But when you are combining components, you can see here in the outliner that there is history or unnecessary transform nodes created because we combined 2 different objects which both have own transforms from the origin. And when we combine those, they have new transforms. apart from the origin. So we have to disable this history by going into the edit and then delete by type and history. Otherwise your scene is getting heavy and there is going to be unnecessary stuff. So edit, delete by type, history. And of course your pcube one, if I open this channel box here, channel box icon is under the workspace most of right of these small icons. You can see here under the inputs there is history stored as well, although we didn't combine it together. So we can also delete this history because it's we don't need it anymore because we have this ready model. So we can go edit, delete by type, history. Only difference between these two is that there is one phase what we don't want to be in here. So because we created this from the cube, if I go to the face selection mode by pressing mouse's right and then I select the face selection and then I double click this upper cube and I lift it up a bit and then I turn around my model, we can see that here is one face what you never ever, you cannot see it never ever because it's inside the geometry. So to optimize our geometry we want to delete this face, so just press delete. And now if I select all the faces and bring this back here, we have clean or more cleaner topology on our object. Okay, so there is two different ways to do this and both are right. So when you start modeling you can do it either way, no right or wrong. And after this I'm going to introduce how to solve one very common problem with extruding. So I'm pressing my spacebar down and I'm going to create polygon primitives, and this time I'm selecting the cylinder and I'm scaling it up a bit with my pressing R down like this, and then I'm opening again my modeling toolkit from here under the workspace and I'm selecting the face selection or turning on the face selection. Currently we cannot actually see how many polys we have on our mesh, and that's something useful information what we can use to see if our mesh is clean. So you can turn on your poly count from the display menu. So you come on the top line and then you press display and then you go to the heads up display, and here is the selection poly count, and then you just put check mark on here, and now on the left up corner of your 3D space you can see that your verge, edges, faces are listed here. Next thing what I'm going to do is I'm going to delete these faces up here. Okay, and then I'm selecting edges, these top edges here, and now look closely number of edges and vertices here when I'm doing the extrusion. I'm doing it once, like this, and as you can see, my poly count increases, although my geometry didn't change. My geometry didn't change because I didn't move my mesh or my extruded edges apart. So this is very common problem that when you are extruding, you forgot to move your edges, and then you do new extrusion, and then you end up with this stacked geometry. And stacked geometry is bad thing. You don't want anything to be stacked because it will cause problems in UVs, and it will cause problems in rendering, and your topology is not clean. So how to get rid of stacked geometry or check that you don't have stacked geometry is rather simple. You go to the vertex selection, so by pressing mouse's right you go to the vertex, and then you select all the vertices on your mesh. And next thing what you do is you go to the up here to the edit mesh, and then you select from here the merge option with the little window or the options window, and it pops up like this. And here it says that merge threshold is 0.01, which means that it will merge together all the selected vertices what are apart from each other 0.0 on 3D space. You shouldn't usually increase this value, because if the vertices are stacked, they are going to weld together with this 0.01 distance. So now when I'm pressing merge, my poly count is going to be decreased because it's going to weld together the vertices what are stacked. So as you can see, now the vertices are stacked, and if I are or merged, and if I just select now this one vertices and move it, you can see that there is no stacked geometry, and something or anything isn't happening. Anything what we don't want isn't happening. And the next tool what I'm showing is just a warning. So if you select all your vertices, and then you come here up in the edit mesh, and you select merge to the center. This is something what you shouldn't use because it's merging all the vertices to the center. So if you accidentally select merge to the center, just press Command C and you get your original model back. And then the another common issue. So the polygon has always back and the front side. And the back side is usually this black part here, and the front side is this gray area. Now, if you want to turn your inside out, or you have some black faces, you have to go into the mesh display, and from the mesh display you select reverse, and it will reverse the polygon or polygon facing. So every time you have black areas where you don't want it, you just select those by face selection, and then you go into mesh display and press reverse, and that's how you can make back and front side go where they should be. So this was really fast roundup from yesterday and how to do polymodeling. Next thing what I want you to do is the assignment for today, and your assignment will be modeling a lightsaber. So you are going to pick some of the lightsaber, and please take lots of reference pictures from Google, and after that start from the cylinder form, and then you can add details with extrude or with combining two different objects together. And another useful resource for the getting reference is our YouTube videos. So basically you can find lots of videos made about these lightsabers on YouTube by just searching. And when you are modeling, it's very useful to see real life piece, turn it around from the different angles. So that's how you can see really how it should be modeled. And on the afternoon, we are going to go together through the UV mapping of these lightsabers of yours.